driving
ready?
area. It's the terminus.
You ready?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I am calling the borough order today, July 8th at 6 o'clock. And the flag salute will be led by me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Make sure you have a microphone, Nancy, okay? One over. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building, on the borough website, mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mrs. Ball Miller. Here. Ms. Lambert.
Here.
Mr. McCaffrey.
Here.
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here,
Cash receipts in the current fund account for the period of June 1st to June 30th, 2024 were $834,150.13. Cash disbursements in the current fund account for the month of June 2024 totaled $1,823,830.61. Cash receipts in the water utility account for the period of June 1 to June 30, 2024 were $111,193.33. Cash disbursements in the water utility account for the month of June totaled $565,143.03. Cash receipts in the sewer utility account for this period totaled $103,822.08. And the cash disbursements in the sewer utility account for the month of June totaled $233,543.82. And I just wanted to give a quick beach badge sales update. Right now, as of June 30th, the beach badge sales total equal $367,230, an increase over last year at this point. Last year, at the end of June, we were at $350,413. So we're about $17,000 ahead of where we were this time last year.
That's great.
all right.
Ordinances, 2024-19C, an ordinance amending Chapter 212 zoning of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to clarify regulations regarding the American flag. Final reading.
Since this is the final reading, I'm opening this to the public. Anybody that would like to speak to this, please come forward, state your name and address, as well as anybody on Zoom. So everybody that'd like to speak to this. Anybody on Zoom?
No.
In that case, is there a motion for approval of 19C?
Motion to approve 19C.
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller.
Yes.
Ms. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
Ordinance 2024-20C, an ordinance amending Chapter 111, Hotel and Motel Bed and Breakfast Room Occupancy Tax to establish a transient accommodation, occupancies targeting but not limited to such accommodations conveyed by transient space marketplaces. The purpose of this ordinance is to supplement Chapter 111, which authorizes municipalities to impose a transient accommodation occupancy tax for transient accommodations that are conveyed through a transient space marketplace. Final reading.
since this is final reading, it's open to the public. If anybody would like to come forward and speak to this, want anybody on Zoom or in the room, state your name and address. Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 20C?
Do you all feel comfortable to move forward with this? I know there were some questions raised at the last meeting. I haven't gotten clear legal advice from our attorney. I would like to see something in writing from the Treasury.
I think we can vote on it, but obviously there's things we need to investigate before we can actually enforce it, start putting this into effectively use.
Yeah, and we will not be the enforcer. I mean, the Treasury Department will be the ones that will decide who's qualified and who's not.
Well, I think if you have questions and you're not sure of the answers, then I feel that we should
what's the rush? We've been all
We
these
can
years.
table
Let's
this
table
to
it.
The next meeting and until we get.
I know I still have questions that need answered.
Well, that's good enough for me. So
I mean,
I'd like to table
the
it.
concept of it, I think we all agree upon. It's just, there's details that we have to.
Yeah.
So
All right,
you'd like to
What's the
table to
rush?
July 25th?
We have a motion to table this to June.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Ordinance 2024-21, an ordinance authorizing the execution and granting of a deed of dedication and perpetual public access easement to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to preserve public access in perpetuity pursuant to the public trust doctrine and to comply with the requirements for an improved public access plan. Final reading.
Would anybody like to come forward and speak to this? You would? Okay. Don't forget to state your name and address, even though we all know it.
Righty. Lori Anderson, 1001 West Avenue. This ordinance has to do with the dune walkovers, correct?
Correct.
Only.
Is this only dune walkovers or is it public access to the bay as well?
All access to water, bay as well.
Well, a thought just occurred to me while I sat there. What if we have beach replenishment or, I mean, you said in perpetuity. So what, could there be any kind of weird problems that we can't even think about quite yet that we wouldn't want it in perpetuity?
I think we're sort of almost required to do this at the state level. And I think if we didn't do it, we wouldn't get funding from the government to be able to do things like beach replenishment and that sort of thing. But I can't really, I mean, basically all it's really saying is that we have to give access to the beach, to the public, the beach and the waterways, the public.
Oh, okay. So these aren't I thought it was the private walkways.
No.
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 it's a public.
Oh, okay. So I was all wrong.
It's
Sorry.
protecting
No, no
public access to the water
Okay.
the
Well, we
public
want that for sure.
forever.
All right. I just
Good question, though.
private walkways.
Yeah, well,
that-
that is a good question.
Yeah, I have, speaking of which, we need to bring that up.
Is there anybody else on Zoom that would like to speak to this?
I don't see any hands.
All right, is there a motion to approve 2024-21?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-23C, an ordinance amending Chapter 182, Article 2, limousines, Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish general requirements and a fee structure to operate a limousine within the Borough of Beach Haven, first reading. So we've recently received an inquiry of an individual that was interested in getting a limousine license. In New Jersey, a limousine license from municipality is required if dispatching actually takes place within the municipality and the vehicle is stored here. This person was proposing that. We did quite a bit of research to figure out what our responsibilities would be. The person hasn't come back to actually do the application, but we felt that we should adopt more detailed rules and regs into the code to keep the clerk after us from having to do the research that we did. So we've crafted this chapter to very clearly identify what the rules and regs are, what the fees and how you process the application.
Now, is this person wanting to house their limousines in Beach Haven?
One, yes.
Okay, and basically, they obviously wouldn't be limited just to Beach Haven. I'm just curious, would other municipalities on the island have to have something like this? Or just us because they're housing their vehicle here and we're dispatching?
If the business is dispatching from the municipality, then that municipality has to issue the license. In addition to other licenses, they have motor vehicle licenses they have to have, their drivers have to have certain kind of licenses for motor vehicle. But the first step is going to be that they get zoning approval or a certificate of occupancy to conduct that type of business from a location in town. And I'm not, no guarantees that they would, but we would like to have our end of things in the code.
Okay.
Would it prohibit the said potential limousine to be able to be parked on the street? Would have to be in a garage, would have to be off on the property, because
I guess it depends on the location they propose to the zoning
Hmm.
officer for approval.
And that would be established at that time when they come up with. I guess this would just give us the ability to allow them to make the application.
Hmm.
They still have to.
I mean, the rules are written in the state regs. If it wasn't in the code, we would follow the state regs. But it's easier for, like I said, the clerk after us to be able to go to the code and know what they have to do. We're just adopting what the state regs are for a local
Okay.
municipality.
Interesting. I mean, this doesn't apply to things like Uber and Lyft.
No. You have to have a license from wherever the dispatching office is.
All right, any more discussion from council?
so if someone drives someone to the airport and they have a business, would that be considered a limousine business?
If their office is located in,
If their home, if office is their home, and yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of, when you have Lyft and Uber, it just seems almost ridiculous to have this. It's almost the same.
it's getting somewhat archaic.
Yes, it's kind of like the state hasn't caught up times.
Yeah.
But it's certainly, I don't see any problems with it. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 23?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank
For
you, Jamie. Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes,
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
Ordinance 2024-24C, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease amendment and extension between the Borough of Beach Haven and the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company #1 for the premises located at 420 Pelham Avenue, also known as Block 1, Lots 3, 4, and 5 on the official tax map of the Borough of Beach Haven, to amend a lease agreement between the Borough of Beach Haven and the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company #1.
any discussion among the council? on this?
No.
No,
Is there a motion to approve 21st?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
yes,
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
Ordinance 2024-25C, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 35, Salaries and Compensation of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to require full and part-time employees to be paid through direct deposit pursuant to NJSA 52:14-15F.
again, is there any discussion among the council? I don't see.
No,
No, I thought this was kind of,
I figured it would already be
yeah,
doing
it was
that.
already been done for a while.
They do in the
All right, is there a
schools.
motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey?
yes,
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes,
Ordinance 2024-26C, an ordinance amending ordinance 2024-13C, which supplemented section 4510 of the Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, revising the definitions related to the prohibition of teen night, to revise the definition of teen night contained in ordinance 2024-13C, first reading.
discussion among the council on this?
Now, Sherry, do you just maybe want to give a brief rundown for the people so they can understand what this is all about?
I don't have a copy of it. Yeah.
I have it here. Need it.
So the adopted definition of teen night will be supplemented by adding the word occurrence. So the revised definition will say a scheduled dance, adding the word occurrence, or event held in a premise of a licensed plenary retail alcoholic beverage establishment, striking and restricted to those, replaced with to which patrons under the legal drinking age established by the laws of the state of New Jersey, supplementing, are invited or into which such individuals are otherwise permitted to attend. Then we're also adding provision III under definitions A that says nothing in this ordinance shall prohibit those under the legal drinking age from entering a licensed plenary retail establishment at any time if accompanied by their parent or legal guardian or other adult who accompanied them to the establishment. Those are the recommended changes.
Thank you. A lot of people were asking me, and I think, it helps if you make it known.
I have a question, like, I don't know, and that's why I was looking for Bruce before the meeting. I thought maybe he'd be here
Yes.
because I have a question whether we should be introducing an amendment to an ordinance that's already in litigation.
I mean,
I
if,
just
if
don't-
the definition is not sufficient and not clear enough to do what we needed to do, then we should be amending it. We had this happen with our sidewalk ordinance. When we had to change the word abut, it was abutting the right of way to abutting the sidewalk.
Okay.
If it was an error and it wasn't accomplishing the goal, then we change it.
What specific goal are we accomplishing by changing this?
Well, if you go into a licensed establishment with an adult and a child for dinner, you're not being invited. So these occurrences, this is an advertised, invited event.
Right?
So that is the difference between going into a licensed establishment and having dinner with your family and having alcohol there then versus an event.
I understand that. Um, I didn't think that was prohibited in the other ordinance. You're saying in the.
So
other-
now the establishment is conducting an invitation event. That's what's happening right now, where adults and children are being invited to an event that's like a teen night event. That's what's happening. That's what we're trying to stop, right?
I guess that, yeah, I guess that's, I'm not sure I really understand that. I mean, I understand what you're trying to stop. I'm not really, I guess I don't really understand the wording of the ordinance as well as I should.
Did you review it
I did,
prior to?
I did,
Okay.
I did, I read it. I should have taken a few notes on it. I'm just looking at it.
Use your microphone, Nancy. They can't hear you. Public.
I'm sorry. I did review it and, I.
Here you go.
Yeah, I have it. Uh,
So in other words, the invitations in the sandpaper every week from all the bars, that's okay because it's all adults. In other words, like every bar has an invitation to their, basically, I mean, is that not considered an invitation? I'm not
I guess it's
trying to
an
be,
ad.
I'm not trying to stir the
It's
pot.
an
it's just-
ad, isn't it? I mean,
But an
that's-
ad, well, that's what this is, what you're referring to.
Well, this is for patrons under the legal drinking age and everything.
That's why I'm asking, is that just because it's okay because they're not?
The original ordinance just restricted it to teenagers. This now restricts it to all ages. Under the
so
age of
you can't have
21.
Any kind of activity in a bar room.
That's
that
that's
involves
an
adults and
invitation.
teenagers.
or advertised, basically. It's
Yeah.
the same as an advertisement.
that's
I'm
what
just
you're
worried that
saying. That's why. I'm
can we do
confused.
that? I don't know. I
You
just,
can't have any event in a bar without alcohol that, and you can't have it for anybody. You couldn't have any, you couldn't have a fundraiser in alcohol without alcohol for anything.
I don't think that's what it means.
That's where I'm a bit confused. But it just seems somewhat restrictive.
Uh,
I think if you have questions, you should consult the solicitor.
Yeah, I know, he's on vacation. So, wasn't able to do that.
Well, we've had this. You can give him a call. I'm sure he'll answer, or Sal in his office can answer. Any other questions?
Wasn't this his recommendation?
Yes.
Right, I'm assuming he wrote it, so.
Well.
How would you like to handle it?
Comments? Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second,
Mrs. Ball Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
yes.
Mr. McCaffrey?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
No,
Mayor Davis?
No.
Motion approved. All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 146, returning residential development fees. Resolution 149, returning piling bonds. 151, authorizing the sale of surplus property no longer needed for public use in an online auction. This is just general miscellaneous items. 152, entering into the Hunterdon County Educational Services Cooperative Pricing Agreement. 153, authorizing the executive session to discuss ongoing litigation, Batista versus Beach Haven et al. And Beach Haven Automotive Inc. versus Beach Haven et al. And 154, approving and authorizing an execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Borough of Beach Haven and the County of Ocean for utilization of the Ocean County Sheriff's Law Enforcement Training Facility for firearms training and qualifications.
Would anybody like to remove any of these resolutions for further discussion?
Nope.
In that case, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Kitty, can you read the bill list amount for me listed on your agenda?
$989,644.23.
Thank you. Those are the bills for this evening. Any questions?
Nope, reviewed them, had my questions, they were answered,
Is
yeah.
there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Second,
I'll second.
Mrs. Ball Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. McCaffrey,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder,
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
yes.
I think that's all I have.
Okay, so I'm opening the floor to public comment and the Zoom to public comment. If you want to comment, come forward, state your name and address on anything, or Zoom, raise your hand or wave your hand. So is there anybody that would like to speak tonight? Okay,
John Halpern, 319 Fairview Avenue, Beach Haven. Just a comment, and I don't know if I'm alone, but when the discussion took place on the teen night or the teen night definition, what was communicated was basically looking at the document that's what I consider a legal red line document. And it was very difficult for the public to understand exactly how the definition is changing and what those implications are. So I would only recommend that if you're stating a purpose, even though we understand that when you don't publicly disclose ordinances that are being introduced, but if you're stating a purpose that deals with a definition, I think the public, in terms of public disclosure, should receive a little bit more information so they can understand what the discussion is amongst the council members, those that were in favor of the ordinance and those who were not. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Now that it's introduced, I can provide the copy and it will be published and placed on the website for review.
anybody else like to come forward and speak? Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to speak? You have somebody on Zoom?
Nina Hayes.
Hi,
Double check if they can hear you.
can you guys hear me?
Can't hear.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Nina Hayes, from Beach Haven. Mayor and council,
What's your address? You have to state your address for the record.
of course, 1000 North Bay Avenue. Mayor and council.
really hard to hear.
They're having a hard time.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Mayor and council may not be able to act on the concern I am presenting, but I think it is important for you to know. I have two major issues on how Mike Batista pays his employees, and he's the owner of the Marlin and Triton Oyster Bar. Number one is timing. He does not pay out his tips the same night as the work is completed. Sometimes it's 3 weeks later. So for example, if you worked on June 17th, you won't get your check or your tip outs until July 7th. And number two is the amount. The cash and credit card tips are not accounted for or tracked. And unfortunately, employees don't receive any report, and it's a complete mystery on what you're receiving until payday, which is 2 weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later. But I just wanted to say that I put in a police report, and I'm working with the police law enforcement on this, and we also went to
believe that this is wage theft.
yeah, and
And-
he's a thief, and I believe that it's a form of wage theft, and I just wanted to come on here and inform you guys. And I also have my mother here with me. Hold on.
Do you think
Thank
is it okay if I just hop on as well, Mayor and Council?
State your name.
Angela Hayes, 1000 North Bay Avenue, Beach Haven.
Go ahead.
So as a person that's been coming down to LBI and owning properties on Long Beach Island for 35 years, I'm really upset and disgusted by Mike Batista and how he exploits his employees. We are taking further action. My son also, Nina's brother also has put in some hours there and is still unaware of his pay and tip outs. So I just wanted to let the mayor and council know that we are taking other action. And secondly is because now I'm aware that there is a lawsuit with Mr. Batista and the Borough of Beach Haven. I just like the mayor and council as a taxpaying resident to encourage you to use caution moving forward with someone who lacks complete integrity, lacks honesty, and takes advantage of high school and college students that are just looking to make some money over the summer. And if he's doing that, then I personally, as a resident, do not support him running any teen nights. I'm also part of the Shelter Harbor Marina community. I know we've had a lot of problems with teens being near the Fan Zone Park and Bay Village, spilling over into the Shelter Harbor Marina. I understand that there's, issues with teens sometimes and rowdiness. And I know we all want kids to be kids and they need somewhere to go and they want to have fun. But there have been many times where it's gotten out of hand. And so my last statement here is that if anyone in Beach Haven were to run a teen night, the last person that I think it should be would be Mike Batista. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Anybody in the room? Anybody else on Zoom?
Paul Sullivan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you very much. My name is Paul Sullivan. I live at 126 Lindola Avenue in Beach Haven. My questions or comments are regarding teen night. Really, I guess, two questions. The first question is Mike Batista is suing Beach Haven Borough. Is he suing the borough to essentially reenact or put in teen nights on a permanent basis? or just for the summer of 2024? That's my first question. And my second question is, did we, as a borough council, give Mike Batista enough notice or ample warning, to prepare for, shutting down teen night going into the summer of 2024, as he claims in his lawsuit? So first question, is he looking to reenact it for the summer of 2020, this summer, or for future summers?
Mr. Sullivan, if you would like to see the contents of the filing, you can reach out to me. I can email it to you. It is a public record. And I don't think that we should be commenting on the litigation at this point.
That's fine. Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, Cookie Messick, 19 6th Street. I just had a question. You're going into closed session about the suits of both Batista and Beach Haven Automotive. Has that gone to court yet?
Which,
Beach Haven Automotive?
yes,
And has it been resolved?
that's what we're going to discuss in the closed session, what the resolve is and how we're going to proceed. So we'll get back to you on that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else on Zoom? Nope. Anybody else in the room? All right, nobody, so I'm closing the floor to public comment. And I guess we'll do the final remarks by Council now.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to say anything, Kitty?
Sure. I want to say that it was a long weekend, really long weekend, but special thanks, of course, I'm sure everyone feels the same way, to our police department and our fire company, our ambulance squad, for taking such good care of us and working diligently to make sure that everyone's safe and in good hands. You all do a great job, and we could not thank you more. We are very lucky in Beach Haven. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to say that everybody did a real good job. It didn't appear that there were any problems. Half and half, there's always going to be problems, but for the amount of people that were here, I think we got away pretty lucky.
Colleen?
Yeah, I had the same thing prepared: police, fire, first aid, and the beach patrol. I mean, I think by all accounts, this one was like off the charts from what everybody said. I can believe it. And the sirens were going off that we did hear, and there are so many that don't go off. So thank you all very, very much. Also, very sadly, we lost 3 members of the old Beach Haven community, and just want to send our condolences to Kenny Kramer's family, Joan Gunther Kapler's family, and Phyllis Shee's family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie?
Just want to echo what everyone said. Thank you to everyone. It was a very interesting weekend. It's always amazing how many people come. I don't know why I always act surprised.
I
but
know.
I think it's just a shock. But again, thank you to everyone, even everyone in the office, and also everyone that's working the beach as well. The badge checkers are doing an amazing job. They've been I think they've been a little bit more aggressive this season, which everyone was hoping. And, I've been asked almost every day. So they're doing an amazing job, and they're very polite, and, they're just kids. So be easy on them. But other than that, no, we're full steam ahead. Seems like everything is falling into place, and I'm looking forward to a great July.
And I'll just say thank you for everybody's comments. Mine are similar. I'm so happy the 4th of July is over. It was so calm today. I didn't feel like I was going to kill myself on my bike going the block. So the rest of the summer should be on a nicer keel. And thanks to everybody again. Okay. that's
Thank
it.
you.
All right, at this
Thank you.
time, we're going to be going into executive session. I anticipate being in the executive session about 45 minutes. No formal action will be taken during or after the executive session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we are reconvening the public session of the meeting. It is 7:15 PM. At this point, we have no other business besides to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah,
Thank
Second.
you. All right, meeting adjourned. Have a good night.
thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Um,
Thank